Welcome to Java. Thank you kindly for joining me. It's March 24th, 2025. It is also Monday and the beginning of what will likely be a very busy week. Now, we are expecting the new flash PMI today to start off the week, but we've got a lot of other global movers. I've got sound today. Yesterday had a bit of an issue with that. So I just want to thank everyone with their patience with that until I got the second version out in which it had more sound. So with this, let's get started in with the markets this morning. Now, for your greed meter, still in extreme territory, it's at 23 and rising back towards the greed, but we're still in extreme fear. It's kind of more of the mover today, but let's talk a little bit more about what's going on. Last week had thrown the markets into correction territory. Now, with all of this, as of this morning, markets are looking green, and this is on what is being announced as targeted tariffs. So, right now, the daily driver is that large hedge funds and the big money, if you will, is selling into the strengths. And we've got still retailers coming in and buying the dip. So, right now, it looks like risk on with these targeted tariffs announcements. So, that kind of brought the uncertainty level down. And so, markets are green, at least for now. So current markets showing a bit of strength. Volatility index has even gone down quite a bit. We've got the futures are also agreeing with this, that we're going to see strength at least through a good portion of today, and we'll see how the markets go from there. There are previous support levels that are now resistance levels. We will be watching those towards the end of the day or to see if there is a sell-off. Now, with this, always watching the 10-year yield now, it's actually retraced a bit below the 4.3 level. And we've also got the US dollar tracing back a little bit, but it's at 104 at the moment. So with what this is showing is that we've got a lot of money moving back, not just into the United States markets, but also the US dollar. Because with all of them shifting together, we saw quite a bit of outflow that went into Europe over last week, and a lot of that was on the announcement of the open debt ceiling, so to speak, for the German debt. Now, with this, we've got cryptocurrencies also up, Bitcoin at 87,300 plus, and rising tide floats all ships, so the other cryptocurrencies up with it as well. Now, we've got global investors, as this is saying from Reuters, increasingly re-rating mainland China stock markets after 2 years of sitting on the sidelines. So bankers were saying this would help drive renewed activity into the market, talking about their stock issuance that has doubled from January to March, first quarter of this year versus last year. Now, they're not the only ones reporting this. There are multiple aspects of strengths going into the Chinese equity markets as they're kind of proving that they are becoming more of a stability. I spoke a little bit about this yesterday, but they're holding their forum right now, economic forum, and they have the heads of all of the major corporation CEOs. They're speaking with them as this is going on now. So we've got our calendar back for the New York markets. As I was saying, PMI are the reports we're expecting this morning. And then tomorrow morning will be more directed toward the home price and home sales, as well as consumer confidence, which is actually tied in quite a bit with mortgage rates and home sales. Now, we've got home sales seeing a bump in February thanks to higher income buyers. Now, this is a very generic report that came out because real estate is really local. Texas and Florida still under quite a bit of pressure, but you are seeing price increases across multiple areas of the United States, as well as the UK and Europe. So very local. You have to look in that. As I was saying yesterday, You want to get the deals, start shopping now so that you can recognize the deals when they come. We've got a lot of opportunity that's about to hit. Now, we've got Bitcoin, XRP, and Solana are the ones that really benefited from the equity futures and the targeted action for tariffs, what they're calling Liberation Day, which is actually April 2nd. But the markets are up today as they're pricing this in. It was announced off market hours. Now, turning a little bit more broad and what is going on with these currency wars, we are watching continued weakness in the Turkish lira. It is continuing to fall. There are also multiple protests there. What happened was, in case you missed it, the main opposition to Erdogan was arrested. So that kind of locked in the party because no one else came close to having the support in order to have these elections, which are imminent. So going across to the east, uh, we've got it coming out, and this is another kind of on watch, is Japan has not yet conquered their deflation, and this is warning coming from the finance minister. So they're still having an issue between their inflation and deflation, whether they hike rates, and they've got a massive amount of United States Treasury. So they're balancing out their currency at the moment with the US dollar. So we're watching a lot of these fluctuations in the US dollar and the markets flooding and flowing, if you will, between the EU and Japan are the largest ones, and then China is third. So looking back as far as tariffs, we've got other political unrest that is being caused by this. Carney, this up in Canada, is now calling for a snap election in Canada. And he's saying that this is because Trump is causing a crisis. What's really going on is that he wants these elections to happen as quickly as possible. Trudeau has already stepped down, and he's trying to beat out these tariffs and put himself in a position where he can actually negotiate somewhere, because right now he's really not in much of a position, and it's really causing some turmoil within Canada, and he really wants to get his foot in the door, so to speak, prior to anyone else being able to rise up and challenge him. He is previous central banker, so really keeping him on watch. Like to drop in a few other things here before I let you go for the morning. We've got oil. It is rising. Now, United States and Russia beginning their talks. They're in Saudi for Ukraine ceasefire and talking about peace in the Black Sea. So the Black Sea deal would open up shipping and trade routes through there, as well as putting this peace deal together. So oil going up on all of this because it would open that trade. Now, one would think that it would kind of balance out with the supply and demand, but with this, it's going up. So we've got Pentagon chief also going back east to visit the Philippines for security talks. Now, I spoke yesterday about Asia waking up and having their own issues going on, and very quietly in the background. Now, Hegseth going and going with envoys to Philippines, but also talking to China. Now, China told the last administration for the United States in no uncertain terms that they should stay out of what they quote unquote call Asian business, and they are claiming territory all over the South China Sea. So, kind of trying to set things straight here. There are quite a few incursions that have been happening with Philippine fisheries and such that don't make the news. So, kind of settling here for a bit. There's also the news on the deep sea cutters, and these are for the intercontinental subsea data cables. So, a little bit of issue there. Who knows what they will actually be discussing? We'll never see that in mainstream media. So, keep an eye out for that. So, with this, last story I want to leave you with, Serbia now blaming US deep state for mass protests, saying that the Western intelligence agencies are orchestrating unrest in order to topple the country's government. This is according to the Prime Minister, came out in RT, and I can't imagine how they could possibly think that the United States would ever do something like this in order to meddle in foreign politics. So, at any rate, with this, wish you all a wonderful day in general. Thank you very kindly for being here, especially if you stayed to the end. And until I see you again, my friends, stay free.